The remainder of our focus will be on what the research evidence base has to say about telework in terms of job satisfaction, work-life balance, career impacts, impacts on productivity and performance, potential effects on social isolation, and challenges associated with implementing effective telework policies, especially regarding the flexibility paradox and the need for equitable policies for home-based work and telework. When we think of effectiveness, we'll be comparing telework, which I'll refer to as home-based work, and traditional co-located work, which I'll refer to as office-based work. Of course, we recognize that telework can be done in any location outside of the office, not just at home. First, let's look at job satisfaction. In this area, home-based telework has been shown to yield job satisfaction that is at least as high and potentially higher than co-located office-based work. A key driver of this likely has to do with an increased sense of autonomy and control by the worker. There are some limits on this effect, however. Specifically, there are curvilinear relationships with satisfaction for high performance outcome orientation and for task interdependence. What this means is that for individuals who are highly motivated to perform well, satisfaction for home-based work peaks earlier. Same is true when task interdependence is high. In other words, job satisfaction is likely to be higher for office-based work when task interdependence is high and when employees are highly motivated to perform well. The bottom line here is, although telework can be associated with higher satisfaction, those gains are reversed for employees that are highly motivated to perform and for work that requires a lot of coordination. How about work-life balance? Although our intuition might suggest home-based work affords a greater work-life balance, it really depends on the organizational and broader cultural setting in which workers are situated. In some instances, telework may provide more balance. In others, it may provide less. Specifically, telework may be beneficial in cultures and organizations where work-family boundaries are stronger and more respected, where workers have a higher degree of control over their job, and where managers are willing and eager to share information with subordinates. In other words, work-life balance is a mixed bag when it comes to telework. Greater work-life balance in telework requires less of an always-on culture when at home, more autonomy in one's job or work role, and managers who are apt to share information with their employees. For career impacts, prior research has been more conclusive. Home-based workers experience less positive impacts on their careers than office-based workers. And there's even more bad news for women who receive a disproportionately greater negative impact on their careers. 3 factors can mitigate these negative impacts of telework on career outcomes. First is active impression management with one's boss to ensure that you stay on the radar. This is especially important for women, as research shows they're more likely to be overlooked when working remotely. Second is extra role behaviors, or going above and beyond the call of duty by volunteering and taking on supplemental work assignments. And third is the extent to which telework is normative in the profession. If working from home or telecommuting is standard operating practice in the organization, negative career impacts are less likely. So, in sum, the impact of telework on career trajectories historically has been negative, though this is mitigated by managing your boss's impressions of your work, taking on extra assignments, and working in organizations where telework is the norm. This last point suggests that as attitudes change post-pandemic, negative career impacts may dissipate also, but the jury's still out on that. In terms of productivity and firm performance, generally speaking, there's some evidence that performance can be enhanced with teleworking arrangements. But once again, these performance benefits are contingent on several conditions. First, there needs to be strong HR support practices and employee development programs in place. Second, this is especially true for creative tasks that can be easily coordinated remotely. Research and creative activity done by professors is a perfect example of this. And third, it depends on the life circumstances and the home environment of the teleworker. For instance, productivity is likely to be higher if there are no children running around at home. If you've juggled parenting and work responsibilities while telecommuting during the pandemic, this last point likely really resonates with you. So, telework can be positively associated with higher productivity and performance under these constraints, though it may be difficult to infer directional causality here. For instance, it's possible that high-performing firms are more likely to provide telework options, or that high-performing employees could be more likely to be granted telecommuting privileges. Interpersonal interaction is defined as the extent to which a job provides opportunities to interact and engage with others. Research done on interpersonal interaction and social isolation suggests that because telework requires less interpersonal exchange, there is a higher risk of social isolation for teleworkers than for office-based workers. Telework also has been associated with feelings of loneliness, disconnection, and negative emotions. On the other hand, not all interpersonal interaction is positive. So, if social exchanges are stressful, or if an individual's personality favors having less interpersonal interaction, telework can offset that stress and lead to lower isolation. Also, teleworking part-time rather than full-time can take the edge off stressful interactions while at the same time reducing social isolation. Finally, working in rural settings where commutes might be extremely difficult, or working in organizations with favorable attitudes about using remote technologies also can reduce the negative impacts of telework on social isolation. In short, although telework can be associated with more social isolation than home-based work, especially for those who thrive on social interaction, it may benefit those who need it less or who are able to optimize their split in work time between home and office.